Man, I mean, to me, that was like watching some WWE type of shit. I think the whole thing was scripted. The whole thing was just a money grab.
As days pass by after the big Friday night, some disturbing details on the fight are coming out. Recently, Mike Tyson has come to clear the rumors about the scripted fight in the middle of the legal consequences.
In breaking news, streaming giant Netflix is being issued a class action in relation to the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight.
And it's not just that. Carl Froch also revealed what he knew about the script. And Teddy Atlas also came forward to explain the real reason behind Mike Tyson biting his gloves. Things just keep getting interesting, but let's catch you up.
Jake Paul, absolutely useless.
Mike Tyson recently revealed that he had taken the fight with Jake Paul purely for financial reasons. The legendary heavyweight admitted that the payday was essential to take care of his family. For a man who has given so much to boxing and endured ups and downs in his career, this admission was quite saddening. But Tyson's confession was just the beginning of a whirlwind of controversy surrounding the fight, with former British boxing champion Carl Froch stepping into the spotlight to make some serious revelations.
Comes to mind?
Well, I don't know. Maybe his brother.
You want to fight Logan? Logan, I think he said you might be next.
I'll kill you, Mike.
No, please, no.
Froch claimed that the fight was scripted in Jake Paul's favor. His words were not whispers in dark corners, they were loud, clear, and intended to stir debate. Froch didn't just hint at it, he laid out what he believed to be the details of a prearranged plan for how the fight would unfold. For Froch, Tyson's performance didn't seem genuine. He alleged that the fight followed a script designed to benefit Paul, raising questions about the integrity of the spectacle. Speaking to Sport Bible, Froch explained what he had heard about the fight's alleged scripting. According to Froch, Tyson's earnings were structured in a way that would reward him more if the fight lasted longer and if he ultimately lost. Froch said, Mike Tyson was definitely playing to a script, taking his time, and for me it was obvious. I'd heard a couple of things on the build-up that if he wins in round 1, or if he only goes in round 1 or 2, say he loses, he doesn't get paid as much.
Oh, wow.
Tyson's final victory.
This supposed payment structure was key to Froch's argument. He claimed Tyson had financial incentives to extend the fight and even lose to maximize his earnings. Froch continued, he gets paid more the longer the fight goes. So if he wins in round 1, apparently the purse was so low. He had a structure where the longer the fight goes and he ends up losing, the more he gets paid. And this fight went the distance and he lost. So he maximized his earnings by the alleged scripting notes. The idea that a boxing icon like Tyson might have been involved in a scripted match is difficult for many fans to accept. Froch didn't hold back, even going as far as suggesting that Tyson deliberately refrained from knocking Jake Paul out. He said, scripted or not, don't go out there and don't knock Jake Paul out. If he knocked Jake Paul out, he wouldn't have got paid because he couldn't do it. Mike Tyson never went for it, did he?
They won't be sending me an email. They won't be contacting my agent to get a fight because they know. I ain't calling him out. I'm just letting you know that he knows, that I fucking know. If I went in there with Jake Paul, it would be an absolute mismatch, 1 round demolition job. I'd even tie one arm behind my back.
These words added fuel to an already blazing fire. MVP, the promotional company behind the fight, wasted no time in responding. They issued a strongly worded statement denying Froch's claims and defending the integrity of the event. Their rebuttal was detailed, emphasizing that rigging a professional boxing match is a federal crime in the United States and that the fight was sanctioned by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. MVP stated, both fighters in good faith performed to the best of their abilities with the goal of winning the fight. There were absolutely no restrictions, contractual or otherwise, around either fighter. Each boxer was able to use his full arsenal to win the fight. Any agreement to the contrary would violate TDLR boxing rules. The statement didn't stop there. It went on to criticize the speculation surrounding the fight, labeling it as illogical and inane. MVP argued that such allegations not only insulted the fighters, but also disrespected the sport of boxing itself. Nakisa Badarian, co-founder of MVP, directly addressed the claims, calling them a baseless attempt to discredit the fighters and the event. He said, "This is not the first time Jake Paul has faced unfounded skepticism or outright disbelief as a professional athlete. And frankly, the claim that his bout must have been rigged is just the latest backhanded compliment to come his way."
What did you think of the fight?
It wasn't a good one.
It wasn't a good one. Yeah.
Badarian's statement also touched on Paul's achievements in the sport, reminding critics of the milestones the event had reached. From day one in this sport, people have doubted his abilities, unable to reconcile how someone with his background has accomplished so much in such a short time. Jake has not only proven himself repeatedly, but he has continuously set historic records that speak for themselves. MVP pointed out that the event had broken attendance and viewership records, a testament to its success as a spectacle. Badarian continued, "As long as Jake continues to exceed expectations, there will always be those who try to discredit his achievements. We embrace the doubt. It only fuels Jake to work harder and achieve greater success."
I wanted to give the fans a show, but I didn't want to hurt someone that didn't need to be hurt. There was a point where, I was just like, okay, he's not really engaging back. And so I don't know if he's tired or whatever. And I could just tell, his age was showing a little bit.
The tension between Froch's allegations and MVP's defense is impossible to ignore. Froch's words have sparked fierce debates among boxing fans. For Froch, Tyson's demeanor in the ring and the financial rumors surrounding the fight were enough to make him believe something wasn't right. For MVP, the accusations are an affront to the hard work and dedication of both fighters. Tyson's admission that he took the fight for financial reasons adds another layer to the drama. It's a reminder of the personal stakes involved for fighters, even legends like Tyson. But it also raises questions about how those personal stakes might influence decisions in and around the ring.
You ready? Suckers. Stefan's laughing. He can't help it. I'm kidding. But we were all suckers. We were all part of it. We all.
For Jake Paul, this fight was another chapter in his controversial journey in the sport of boxing. For Tyson, it was a way to secure financial stability for his family. For Froch, it was a story that didn't sit right. And this is something that Teddy Atlas believes too. Teddy Atlas, a former coach to Mike Tyson, recently revealed the real reason Tyson was seen biting his glove during his fight against Jake Paul. This moment quickly caught the attention of fans, sparking a lot of debate about its meaning. While some speculated that Tyson might have been trying to send a message, others were just curious about the unusual behavior. But according to Atlas, it wasn't as mysterious or dramatic as it seemed. It had everything to do with nerves.
You're talking about Mike Tyson, used to be Iron Mike Tyson, right? Like they like to coin the phrase, baddest man on the planet.
Speaking on his podcast, Atlas clarified that Tyson's thumb biting was not a new or rare occurrence. In fact, it was something that Tyson had done throughout his career, dating back to his amateur days. Atlas, who had worked with Tyson early in his career alongside the legendary Cus D'Amato, explained that this odd behavior was part of Tyson's routine in both his professional and personal life. For people that follow Mike Tyson's career, they've seen it before, Atlas said. Tyson had been seen biting his glove before, so this wasn't something out of character for him. It wasn't some new dramatic action, but rather a familiar habit.
The broadcast team was debating what you were doing with your glove. Was it a mouthpiece issue or were you just biting on your glove? What was that? Could you tell us?
Oh, I have a habit of biting my gloves when I fight, yes.
Why do you do that?
I have a biting fixation.
I've heard about that. I don't want to know more.
While the world of boxing has seen a lot of weird moments, this one stood out because of the attention it garnered after Tyson's performance against Jake Paul. The fight itself had already been controversial, with many questioning whether it had been scripted, as some big names in the sport, including Carl Froch, made bold claims about the fight being fixed. Tyson's glove biting, though, seemed to be a separate issue, but it still sparked a lot of discussion in the aftermath. Tyson, always known for his sharp wit and ability to control the narrative around his persona, had a simple explanation for the action. After the fight, when asked about it, Tyson casually called it a biting fixation. It was a quirky response that fit his image, the dangerous, unpredictable, and slightly eccentric fighter. But Atlas revealed that there was more to the story than just a fixation or an image-building act. According to Atlas, Tyson wasn't doing it for any dramatic or outwardly threatening reason. Instead, it was a coping mechanism.
It's a shambles, it's an embarrassment, it's disgusting, and in my opinion, it needs to stop. It shouldn't be happening. He's not a professional boxer, Jake Paul. He never will be, because he's fucking crap. He can't fight. Have you seen him fight? He's useless. He's just a bully. But
Atlas explained that Tyson's thumb biting was actually a way for the boxer to deal with nerves and unease. Tyson may have presented a tough, fearless persona to the public, but like anyone facing intense pressure, he too had moments of doubt and insecurity. Atlas compared it to a child sucking on a pacifier. "It's more like a pacifier," he said, describing how Tyson might have used the act to calm himself in the midst of anxiety. Just as a child may bite or suck on something to find comfort when they are unsure or scared, Tyson used this behavior to suppress his own nervousness and doubts before and during the fight.
Yeah.
Once he started biting on his glove.
Yeah. What was that?
This is when he get nervous. When he's nervous, he start biting on the glove. He can't figure it out.
The comparison to a pacifier was particularly striking. It suggested that, despite being one of the most feared fighters in the history of the sport, Tyson still had human reactions to pressure. Even someone as accomplished and battle-hardened as Tyson was susceptible to the same feelings of unease that anyone might experience in a high-stress situation. In Tyson's case, biting his thumb through his glove was a simple way of coping with those emotions. Tyson's habit of biting his gloves had been witnessed by many throughout his career, but it was never fully explained until Atlas gave his insight. Tyson's response, though clever and characteristic of his public persona, didn't necessarily capture the deeper reasons behind his behavior. Atlas's explanation made it clear that Tyson's actions were more psychological than physical. The biting wasn't an attempt to appear intimidating, nor was it some hidden message. It was just Tyson's way of dealing with his own insecurities in the face of intense pressure. Despite his tough exterior, Tyson, like all fighters, was facing his own mental and emotional challenges before stepping into the ring.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the one.
This revelation by Atlas helped to humanize Tyson in a way that many fans might not have expected. The former heavyweight champion wasn't just the invincible force that fans had idolized for decades. He was someone who had to deal with the same doubts and fears that anyone would experience in a situation as intense as a professional fight. The thumb-biting habit wasn't just a one-off, it was part of Tyson's broader approach to handling the emotional strain of boxing. It's something that had been with him for years, through his highs and lows, and it played a role in helping him manage his feelings in the ring. This small action, simple as it may seem, represented a deeper psychological need that even the hardest of fighters sometimes rely on. For fans, the biting moment may have been a curious oddity, a strange visual that added a bit of mystery to the fight, but for Atlas, it was just another part of Tyson's complex personality. Atlas's insight reveals the pressures that even great champions face and how they navigate those pressures in different ways. Tyson's thumb biting in this light becomes a symbol of the personal battles every fighter faces in their career, even when they are in the ring with the world watching.
Nice. Come on, punch him. Yeah.
Jake Paul has become the undeniable center of attention in the boxing world, drawing in callouts not only from established fighters, but also from legends across boxing and MMA. Whether you love him, hate him, or can't stop talking about him, it's impossible to ignore his impact on the sport. And while critics question his legitimacy as a boxer, it's becoming increasingly clear that Jake Paul is changing boxing in ways that no one could have predicted. Why else would so many current and former world champions suddenly be clamoring for a fight with him? The simple answer: money. Jake Paul is the draw, and everyone knows it. Take Artur Beterbiev, for instance. The reigning, undisputed light heavyweight champion is a terrifying force in boxing. With a flawless record of 21 wins, Beterbiev has earned his spot as one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport, yet despite his skill and dominance, he's nowhere near as well known as Jake Paul. That's the reality of modern boxing. Notoriety often outweighs pure talent when it comes to drawing a crowd. Beterbiev calling out Paul seems almost absurd on the surface. Why would someone at the pinnacle of the sport want to fight a YouTuber turned boxer? The answer isn't about pride or competition, it's about pay-per-view numbers.
1, 2, 3. 3 weeks, less than 3 rounds. Mike Perry.
But Jake Paul won't take this fight, and it's not because he's scared of Beterbiev. Paul is too smart to risk everything against a fighter who could obliterate him without bringing the same level of attention or revenue. Beterbiev may be a killer in the ring, but in the realm of entertainment, he's the B-side, and Jake Paul doesn't fight the B-side unless there's a huge payoff or a guaranteed narrative to build around. Paul knows his worth, and he's sticking to it.
Arthur Beterbiev calls out Jake Paul, and Jake Paul right away says, "Oh, how I'm running the sport," or something along those lines. Jake Paul will never take that fight. Jake Paul will get knocked out within 2 rounds and basically get exposed why he's not a real boxer. So I think it's badass that a real boxer called him out to kind of put Jake Paul in his place, because we kind of know Jake Paul's not taking that fight.
The same goes for Daniel Dubois, the IBF heavyweight champion. At just 27 years old, Dubois is in his prime, a massive and powerful fighter who dwarfs Paul in size, skill, and experience. Yet even Dubois has joined the chorus of fighters calling Jake out. Why? Because Dubois knows that a fight with Jake Paul would likely bring more attention and money than any traditional title defense against another heavyweight contender. Paul, however, isn't about to step into the ring with someone like Dubois unless the circumstances are right. He's not foolish enough to fight someone who can end his career in a mismatch, especially when Dubois doesn't have the global recognition to justify the risk.
I wasn't at all surprised by the result. I think Mike Tyson is a winner either way.
Jake's asked for a fight with you.
If Jake wants it with me, he can get it too. But I'm the world champion.
Yeah.
Give him a shot like that, you know.
So you'll just knock him out in the first round, within the first minute.
Of course, but it would be a historical moment, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Never before.
Now look at Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. This is where things start to get interesting. Chavez Jr., a former world champion and the son of the legendary Julio Cesar Chavez SR, has the name recognition to make a fight with Jake Paul marketable. While Chavez Jr. is no longer the fighter he once was, his lineage and faded stardom still carry weight in the boxing world. At 38, he's far removed from his peak, making him a much safer opponent for Paul compared to someone like Beterbiev or Dubois. This is exactly the kind of fight Paul might take. It's winnable, it has a narrative, and it will sell. Reports of negotiations between Paul and Chavez Jr. suggest that this fight could actually happen, and if it does, it would be a massive event for both men.
This is your first fight in 2.5 years.
Yeah.
When do you want to come back? Who do you want to fight?
Oh man, I don't care, you know. Jake Paul?
You want Jake Paul next?
Yes, why not?
Andre Ward's comments also underscore just how much Jake Paul has infiltrated the boxing world. Ward, a former pound-for-pound king and undefeated champion, hasn't boxed in 7 years. Yet even he admitted that if Jake Paul mentioned his name, he'd have to consider a fight. Ward, known for his technical brilliance and quiet demeanor, isn't someone who jumps at publicity stunts. But the mere fact that he entertained the idea speaks volumes. Jake Paul brings an audience, and that audience translates to dollars. Ward, who has nothing left to prove in boxing, wouldn't even consider returning to the ring unless there was something extraordinary on the table. And that's exactly what Jake Paul represents, an extraordinary financial opportunity.
I'm open for a discussion, and since you like fighting older guys, I'm an older guy now. And I ain't touched the ring in 7 years, so I think it'll be interesting.
Then there's Quinton Rampage Jackson, the former MMA star and one of the most charismatic personalities in combat sports history. Rampage isn't even a boxer, but he still sees the value in fighting Jake Paul. At 46 years old and far past his prime, Rampage would normally be considered an afterthought in the world of combat sports. Yet, the possibility of a fight with Jake Paul has reignited his relevance. The idea of a crossover bout between Rampage and Paul is intriguing not because of the technical skill on display, but because of the spectacle it would create. Rampage knows how to sell a fight, and Paul has proven time and again that he knows how to draw a crowd. It's a match made in promotional heaven, and while it might not appeal to boxing purists, it would undoubtedly capture the attention of casual fans and social media followers. What's fascinating about all of this is how Jake Paul has managed to flip the traditional boxing hierarchy on its head. Usually, it's the up-and-coming fighters who call out the established stars, hoping to make a name for themselves. But with Jake Paul, the roles are reversed. World champions, retired legends, and MMA icons are all lining up to fight him. Not because he's the best boxer, but because he's the biggest attraction. This shift speaks to Paul's unique ability to market himself and create events that transcend the sport of boxing. Critics can argue all day about Paul's lack of experience or his carefully chosen opponents, but the fact remains, he's bringing a level of attention and financial opportunity to boxing that few others can match. Fighters like Beterbiev, Dubois, and Ward don't need Jake Paul to validate their careers. They've already achieved greatness, but they see the value in fighting him because they know it would generate more talk and money than almost any other fight they could take. What's your take though? Share your thoughts below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.